Hello guys, and welcome to another video on my channel. In this one I'm going to show you the new lap time challenge, and we are going around this Watkins Glen long course, so the full circuit, and we are in this Lexus LC500, the 2017 model. As you can see on the global ranking, I am currently holding the professional world record with a 2 minute 1.155 ahead of Tidgney, who's done a 2 minute 1.458, so I am 3 tenths ahead of current P2. This lap time challenge has been out for, I believe, either 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours, or 4.5 hours, sorry. So I do think the time will go down to somewhere around a 2 minute 0.7, 2 minute 0.8 for a world record. So I reckon the gold estimate you need will be around the 2 minute 4.3 mark. That should guarantee you gold. Without further ado, in the car settings, as you can see in this car, you are wanting to rev this car quite a bit, but not fully, because the power does drop off a little bit at the end, while this car does also have nice early torque. So you don't want to fully rev this car out, since the max revs will be lower than the revs you'll be going to when you change gear. So what I will say is I would appreciate a like and a subscribe if you find these videos helpful and enjoyable to watch. And I will also mention that I am shifting this car from 3rd to 4th at 86 miles an hour, from 4th to 5th at 108 miles per hour, and from 5th to 6th at 140 miles per hour. But without further ado, I'm going to show you my fastest lap which is done now, followed by the detailed lap after that. So, hope you enjoy it. Cheers guys. Hello again guys, so hopefully you enjoyed the lap. Now I'm going to show you the rough braking references for sort of apex speed to take each corner throughout this lap. I am using default ABS like I am for every other lap time challenge videos, etc. With no other assists, so no traction control, no counter steer, no ASM, etc. The key word for this is stability. I'm saying that because if your car starts to slide, you will lose a lot of time, since on the sports style tires there's not really enough grip to catch the slide and power through it without losing time. It'll just start to drift if you try to power through it. But without further ado, let's get into this lap. So first corner, there's this 400 marker, there's 3, and there's this 300 marker. I am braking directly between the two. I've just missed it, sorry, but I am braking at 350 yards precisely. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be braking in a straight line. As soon as I get to third gear, I'm going to start to turn to the right. You want your right wheels to touch the inside curb without going on the high part of the curb if possible. Just to maximise the angle out of the corner and to keep the car stabilised, basically. That's why you don't really want to touch a high part of this curb. You're going to roughly take this corner at 67 miles per hour. I'll put it on the apex, right here. So basically try to aim to get your right wheels just touching this slanted part of this curb here. That is the optimal racing line for this corner in my opinion. But as you can see now, I'm halfway around the corner. I've already picked up the throttle to 100%. Be careful on the exit, since the car can oversteer a bit. So just try not put 100% steering in, just to, you know, not get the rear sliding out the corner. Also, if you feel like the car is about to snap, just upshift to fourth. You won't lose too much time here. Try yourself the exit curb. Here I am turning about a car length before this end of this curb here. I'm going to be roughly trying to get my right wheels touching this inside curb here just to help me drag around the corner and minimise steering basically, so I can carry as much speed as possible. Car length after this end of this curb here, I'm going to be turning to the left, sorry. And again, I'm going to try to touch this inside curb and trying to minimise the steering just to carry as much momentum out this corner possible. Here, again, hook onto the curb just to minimise steering and to carry as much momentum as possible. Plus, you minimise distance doing that, so it is worth doing. Even if it's 100th safe, it is worth it. This corner I'm braking at about 410 yards. You can probably brake as late as 400, but I prefer to brake a bit earlier just to keep my car stabilised going over this first curb. So coming off the first curb, I'm going to be slowing down 100% braking to the right, and I'm going to be getting as close to the inside barrier as possible. I want to be trying to attack the curb in a straight line. When I'm saying that, I'm trying to get my left wheels and my rear left wheels to basically get off the high part of the curb at the same time. That way, when I land from the little bump, I can immediately aggressively turn to the left to do the left parts of the chicane and keep the car stabilised. I'm roughly taking this first apex at about 105 to 107 miles per hour here. So right here, get as close to this barrier as possible without touching it, of course. At this point, you want to be about 105 to 107 miles an hour. As soon as the car lands, you're going to be braking a bit again and turning to the left. Try to use as much of the inside curb as possible without touching the grass, because that is when I believe you get an invalidated lap. So like that, you want to be that much on the curb. You can actually just touch this grass, but you don't want to cut much more than that because that will invalidate your lap. I believe as long as you've got your rear right tyres touching this yellow curb as you rejoin the track, you won't invalidate the lap. As you can see, my rear right is just on this yellow line, so that's why my lap is not invalidated, even though I'm touching this grass. So this part of this curb, you want to roughly take it at 90 miles an hour, then you want to gradually pick up the throttle again, since you are going to be bouncing a bit. So just be a bit careful on your throttle inputs and your turning inputs. And you want to gradually pick up to about, try to get towards 100 miles an hour as you touch the right part of the last curb here. Use all this grass and curb here just to basically carry as much speed through it as possible. You don't get dirty tyres for it. Carry on turning to right, and as soon as you get towards this curb here, you're going to start to lift for this corner. Maybe do a little bit of trail braking like I am here, just to slow it down enough to get onto the inside curb, just to hook you on this corner. Slow it down to about 82 miles an hour, and as soon as you gradually pick up to 84 miles an hour range again, halfway around the corner, you're going to go 100% throttle and just open up the steering a bit towards the exit, just to carry as much speed and momentum out of the corner as possible. This corner, I brake a bit early on this particular lap, but you want to brake about a car length and a half before this 200-yard marker here. Again, as soon as I'm braking, I'm going to be turning to the left because it's cambered. So you want to get as close to the inside as possible, down to third gear, about 66 miles an hour. If you're a bit wide, you're going to lose a few temps here. So you need to make sure you get close to the inside curb if you can. Downshift a bit late. Downshift a bit late to third just to keep the car stabilised while braking. As soon as you get halfway around the corner, as you can see, I'm already 70% throttle. But as you get further around the corner, so about here, I believe, that's when I put 100% throttle into this corner and out of the corner. Again, you might get a slight oversteer as you exit this corner, so just be wary of that. Try open your steering a bit and try to not be too aggressive with the throttle initially. As you can see, I oversteered a bit, so I had to upshift throttle slightly earlier than I wanted. This corner, I'm braking precisely here. Right on this Gran Turismo 7 sign on this 200-yarder mark right here. That is my braking reference for this corner. Again, as soon as I'm braking, I'm going to be turning to the right because, again, like the previous corner, it is cambered. So you need to be as close to the inside curb as possible. Preferably, you don't touch this inside curb, but it doesn't matter if you do. Just because if you don't touch the inside curb, it gives you a slightly better angle exiting the corner, so you have an easier time not getting oversteer out the corner and carrying as much momentum out the corner as possible. The minimum apex speed you want to roughly take for this corner is about 56 miles per hour. As soon as you get down to 56 miles per hour, you're going to gradually go up to about 80% throttle initially, just to pick up the speed while not having oversteer. But as soon as you're starting to open up the steering a bit, you can then go 100% throttle and gradually go a bit wider towards the exit of the corner, just to carry as much speed and momentum out the corner as possible. I could have picked up a throttle a bit earlier, I think, on this particular lap. Try not to touch the grass on the exit, but again, it doesn't really matter as long as you're not too wide. This corner, I'm braking about now, so about 210 yards, I would say. Again, I'm going to be braking a straight line. As soon as I get down to third gear, I'm going to start to turn to the right, and you're going to try to touch the inside curb and taking it around 56 miles per hour. Since it's a very wide exit, you can pick up the throttle extremely early, even 100% throttle straight away. Just as long as you're not putting too much steering on the exit that you get oversteer. You want to use as much of the exit curb as possible, so as long as your right wheels is touching the exit curb, you are good, and that is the optimum racing line to gain as much speed and exit speed as you can from that corner. So here, try to just touch this inside curb. You don't want to go too much on this curb, in my opinion, because you do start to understeer a bit wide if you take too much curb, from my experience. So you want to just touch it, and when you get to 55-56 miles an hour, halfway around this corner, you're going to aggressively pick up the throttle 100%. Just open up the steering early, as you can see right here. This corner, I'm braking roughly 140 yards here. In fact, I've just started to brake now. As you can see, I am halfway between the 200 and the 100. I'm probably slightly closer to the 100-yard marker. I'm going to be braking in a straight line, and I want to be hugging the inside curb, basically. As soon as I'm touching this curb, you're going to see me play around with the throttle a bit, just to get a bit more rotation and to gradually pick up the speed as well. This corner minimum apex speed is roughly 60 miles an hour, maybe slightly less, maybe 58, 59 miles an hour, but you can take it 60 miles an hour if you do it perfectly. Pick up the throttle about 60%, just to pick up the speed and not have oversteer, but as soon as you get towards the end of this exit curb, that's when you'll see me pick up 100% throttle. Not exit curb, the entry curb. The last part of the entry curb, I should say. As soon as I get towards that, I'm going to pick up 100% throttle and open up the steering a bit, just so that I don't get too much oversteer and that my right wheels touches the outside curb, so I maximise the distance here and the exit speed. I did lose the 10th in this sector, I think, but anyway. This corner, there's this 200 marker and this is 100-yard marker. I'm braking at roughly 130 yards for this corner, so about now. As you can see, I am closer to the 100, I'd say, with the front of my car than the 200 marker. Maybe 140 yards, 130 to 140 yards, that area. But anyway, you don't want to brake early for this corner, because I found when I brake early for this corner, my car would snap a bit. So you want to brake basically where I am now, and you also don't want to put too much braking input in, because if you put too much braking input in, again you're going to have the car snapping. So you need to put about 40 to 50% trail braking max, otherwise the car will snap. Talking about trail braking, I'm going to be 40 to 50% trail braking down to about 90 to 92 mile an hour as I touch this inside curb. As soon as I'm starting to leave the entry curb, I'm going to be picking up the throttle about 80%, just so that I don't oversteer or understeer too wide, and I can get back over to the left for this last corner coming up. So veer off to the left, about a car length before the end of this tyre roll here, right here, I am applying the brakes, so maybe slightly more than a car length, but I reckon you can brake a car length before the end of this tyre barrier here. So again, I'm going to be picking in a straight line towards the outside of this corner. As soon as I get to the outside, I'm going to start to trail brake in, down to about 80 mile an hour for this last corner. Try to touch this inside curb because it's slightly cambered again. So you want to basically get as close to the inside as possible. And again, since it's a wide exit, you can aggressively pick up the throttle 100%, just as long as, again, you don't put too much steering on the exit. I just touched the grass, so I do understeer a touch wide, but I do think a 2-minute 0.8 is possible in this race, in this car, for me anyway. I do reckon the top time will be a 0.7 though, realistically. So that is the lap guide around this track, but I'm going to very quickly re-go over it. I'm not going to pause it, I'm just going to quickly go over it. So remember, 3rd to 4th I'm taking at about 86 mile an hour, 4th to 5th 108, 5th to 6th 140. Here we go. First corner, 350 yards, braking a straight line, down to 3rd, 6 to 7 mile an hour on this apex. Don't go on the high part of this curb, pick up the throttle nicely. Since it's a wide exit, you can be quite aggressive on the throttle. Upshift to 4th early if you need to. Turn here, a car length before the exit curb on the left. Car length after the right part of the curb ends, you turn to the left. Hook onto this curb on the right here. Try and minimise the steering. Upshift at 140 mile an hour here. Chicane coming up, you want to brake out 400 yards here. You want to turn to the right, get as close to the inside barrier. As soon as the car lands, brake again, turn to the left at 90 mile an hour on this first curb. Gradually pick up to about 100 mile an hour on that curb. As soon as you get towards the entry curb on the right, brake, lift a bit, get as close to the inside curb as possible, go on it in fact, at about 84 mile an hour, pick up 100% throttle. Car length before 200 yard marker, brake aggressively, downshift late to 3rd, get as close to the inside as possible since it's cambered, pick up the throttle nicely, again quite wide exit, so pick up early if you can. This corner, brake at 200 yards, in a straight line to the right, get as close to the inside curve as possible without ideally touching it, pick up 70 to 80% initially before you start to straighten up the car, then you can pick up 100% throttle and open up the steering just so that you don't get too much oversteer. This corner, you want to be braking at about 210 yards, minimum apex about 55 mile an hour, pick up this throttle aggressively since it's a wide exit, use all the exit curb, veer off to the right, 140 yards you brake for this corner, roughly take it around 60 miles per hour, get as close to the inside curve as possible, pick up the throttle smoothly for 100%, use all the exit curb. This corner about 130 to 140 yards, brake very slightly, down to about 91 mile an hour for this corner, use all this exit curb, veer off to the left, car length for the end of this tyre barrier, brake aggressively, down to about 80 mile an hour, pick up the throttle aggressively since it's a wide exit, open up the steering, and that is the lap guide around this track. Hopefully you enjoyed. I would appreciate a like and a subscribe if you found this lap helpful and enjoyable, but now I'm going to show you how to get to the event and how to see my replays, load a ghost and use the data logger. Cheers! Alrighty guys, so the first way to see the replay of the lap I've just shown you, you can go to showcase in the bottom left of this home section, right here, go down to content search on the left, here, go to replays, then put up the keyword as my name, Calster. It's probably the easiest way to find anything you want from me, and as you can see it is this one here, TT Challenge, LC500 Watkins. It will say my best lap replay for 201.155. And you can play it here. To get to your event, and another way to see my replay, etc., is you go to sport mode in the top right of this home section. Once it loads in, you are wanting to go onto online time trials. and it is, of course, Watkins Glen International Long Course with this Lexus LC500 picture over here. Click on that, select the car, go to qualifying time ranking, and you can click on my name and you can play a replay here as well. I should hopefully be within the top 20 at least throughout this event, so you should easily be able to find me. But to load a Ghost, go into the event. Once it loads in, you are wanting to go onto ranking board right here, the one for this exit board here, or exit sign I should say. Go to global ranking, click on my name, and then press load Ghost. Once it's loaded, you can play around with the Ghost settings. In my opinion, I would personally have your own Ghost off and have mine on, so displayed loaded Ghost, make sure that's in blue, and I'd have it reset after each sector personally, and I'd have it personally start 2 or 3 attempts ahead, just so that you can react to what I'm doing, / what the Ghost is doing with the braking, the throttle timing, etc, and the racing line. But without further ado, that's all I've got for the Ghost. But now, there's another feature there is, data logger, and personally I'm going to show you my lap with Tichney's lap, just so that you can see the differences between mine and Tichney's lap, since he's currently second on this leaderboard. So right here, let's click on Tichney's name. I have an idea where I'm losing time compared to him, but as you can see with the lines, we are all over the place. We do things very differently. For example, turn 1, as you can already see, I am braking later. But anyway, let me just zoom this in quickly, guys. Sorry about this. And let me press that so you can see what the difference is. So, here we go. As you can see, I started the lap slightly faster. I did brake slightly later than Tichney here. He does get into the corner faster than me, but I do get a better exit than him since I did slow the car down a bit more. Since he takes a wider line here, he does lose a bit on this corner, since I do think he's a bit too wide coming into that corner personally. Here I hooked onto a curb, and as you can see, I gained another 100th there just by hooking onto that curb. Here, as you can see, I am braking quite a bit later than Tichney is here, so you'll see I'll gain quite a bit of time coming into this corner. Since I'm taking a narrower line, Tichney will probably gain a bit on the exit here. In fact, he barely gains on me. I gain, if anything. So I'm 2 attempts up already. Since I'm taking a narrower line, I'm going to be taking a bit of time gained initially, but Tichney will get some of it back on me. But it is better to do the narrower line, because I do gain 400ths there. This corner, it looks like we're braking at exactly the same point. And if anything, he is carrying a bit more minimum apex speed than I am, but I am also picking up the throttle a bit earlier. So as you can see, Tichney will gain a bit of time on this corner for me, but since I'm using more of a camber, I gained a bit mid-corner, but since I messed up the exit a bit, Tichney actually gains a bit of time on me there. This corner, again, we're braking at the same time. However, Tichney is carrying a bit more minimum apex speed than I am here, but again, I am picking up the throttle a bit earlier, and I would imagine I'm taking a narrower line than he is here. So right here, he goes in a bit more narrow than me, but since he goes a bit too deep, I'm gaining a lot of time mid-corner here. He will gain a bit of it back on the exit, but not enough off the cost. I gain more than him on this corner. This corner, I brake slightly later than him, and in fact, I take more speed into this corner. I do have a slightly lower minimum apex speed, but I pick up the throttle very aggressively here that I should be gaining time on this corner compared to him. There you go, I gained about 200, 300ths there. This corner, it looks like we're braking at exactly the same point. I do, again, have a slightly lower minimum speed, but I am picking the throttle a bit earlier, it looks like. I am also taking a narrower line, so that's where I gain another half a tenth or so. This corner, I'm braking quite a lot later than him. I gained 400ths there, just by being more aggressive on the brakes. On this corner, again, we're braking at roughly the same points. I am taking a bit less minimum apex speed, but I imagine I'll go a bit more narrower in. So Tichney does gain a bit in the last corner, but I do go a bit early on the throttle, so I'll probably lose a couple hundredths there. That's why I do think that's a couple attempts in my lap personally. But without further ado, guys, I'm going to end the video here now. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll always answer to the best of my abilities. I would appreciate a like and a subscribe as well if you appreciate this video and find it helpful and enjoyable to watch. I would recommend doing a few laps initially just to get in the flow of this car and this track. But without further ado now, guys, I'm going to leave you here. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later, guys. Cheers.